What's up, Theater Philadelphia community? My name is Sabria Shipley, and I'm the Executive Director of Theater Philadelphia, here with our Act 2 Next Generation cohort. I'm here with our two facilitators and teaching artists.
Hi, y'all. My name is Mia Rocchio.
And my name is Sheree Salters.
And we're here with our wonderful youth that are from middle school to all the way to 12th grade and high school. And so can our youth introduce yourselves and talk about what grade you're in?
My name is Alice. I'm a junior in high school.
My name's Alex, and I'm also a junior in high school.
I'm Anna, and I'm a senior in high school.
I'm Tora, and I'm a sophomore in high school.
I'm Drew, and I'm a junior in high school.
Yeah. So these are our beautiful youth that are going around Philadelphia seeing different works, different theater, different forms of what we call theater. And so this episode, we're talking about two field trips that we went on in November. One was to see Macbeth and Stride at the Philadelphia Theater Company. And the second was the Universoul Circus. And so that's a different type of theater we got to see. My first question to kick off our podcast discussion is, what was your favorite part of either experience of seeing Macbeth and Stride or seeing Universoul Circus? Anybody can jump in. Let's get it.
So I'm gonna start with Macbeth and Stride because like me and Tora both saw that. I think the Macbeth and Stride one, it was just like the music and the music blew me away. It's just like there was obviously so much love put into just making sure the music was right and paying homage to the rock and gospel genres, like all those great artists like Tina Turner. I felt like that was very inspiring.
Yeah. Drew basically just took my whole answer. I love the rock music. Like, I don't really see plays that often, despite me like doing plays. Like, and so being able to see one and like having the music just be like right in my face, like it was just a fun time. That was my favorite out of both.
Can I ask y'all, since you two saw the Macbeth show and the music both impacted you so much, like I'm curious, because I also didn't see that show, so I'm curious about your experience of how the music and the story interrelated to one another.
What exactly do you mean by that? Like related to each other?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And the story of Macbeth and Macbeth and Stride. What was where they intertwine?
Yeah.
Because like I feel as if like it was more like a dramatic kind of. It was like this celebration of Blackness, especially since it featured a Black woman as the main character. It had all these like really prominent Black figures, even in the band, in the form of what was their name? The witches? I think those were witches.
Yeah, the witches.
The witches was everything. I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, it is like
like there was. I'm sorry. I remember there was like most of the scenes were done, like most of the important scenes were done through song, not through like speaking, mainly just through singing. Like I remember when they was introducing never mind. I remember when they was like introducing the dude. It was like a whole song like for him when he walked in and stuff. And then he had that, what was it, like the accordion? And
the accordion.
Yeah. And like a lot of the important moments in the story was done through song and not really through lines, which was really cool to see. And like different types of like instruments and like certain, like the way the certain songs were like really like the characters were basically just like singing their feelings throughout the story, which was cool.
Yeah. Was it cool to see like, Shakespeare taken to this like rock star, concert, kind of like.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. And like I like how they wasn't really like speaking in like you know the way that in Shakespeare's plays how they were supposed to speak and stuff. And like I like
Yeah.
how midway through like the main girl said, "Let me not even like speak like that cuz like I don't even understand what they're be saying half the time." And so I'm happy they wasn't like singing like that either. And like I feel like they just really elevated it, you know, cuz Shakespeare, I don't know about you guys, but I find Shakespeare really like boring. And so seeing it like that,
Oh
like it's
yeah.
definitely making me more interested in it after seeing it. So
Yeah.
It sounds like you felt like you could relate to it, like connect to it more.
yeah, I
Yeah.
would say so.
So, and also talk more, let's talk more also, so we're going to switch gears here, because shout out to Macbeth and Stride. It was dopeness. And I believe Tora and Drew went on a Black Affinity night, and had a great old time with the DJ and all the photo booth and displays and things like that. But I want to shift to another experience we had in November that was filled with even more theatrics and fun things to do while seeing the show. And I consider it theater myself, Can some of our other youth talk about the experience with going to see Universoul Circus?
Well, personally, I loved it. I loved every second of it. I was like there was so many acrobatics happening, and I was like on the edge of my seat the whole time. I know me and Tora were so scared during this one acrobatic part that we were literally like holding on to each other and like praying that like this guy would be okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was so funny. But I think one thing that stuck out to me, especially like about the theatrics part, is when they were changing like the set in between performances. There was this guy with this whistle, and he brought out members of the audience and made them do like a little performance. And like that whole time I was like, oh, this is clowning. He's doing like this exercise that we've done before where we have to communicate to each other without using words. And I was like, he's doing this, like, this is exactly what we had to be doing in Shadow Company, which is the other theater company that I'm in.
Yeah, shout out to Yes and Collaborative Arts,
That's
one
right.
of the victory awards from the Theater Philadelphia finalist.
Ow.
Any other thoughts about? Let's talk about like oftentimes the reason why we talked about how the Universoul Circus was created because Black and Brown circus performers weren't getting the proper equity in other circus rings. Was there something that y'all saw that was evident? There was more kind of different culture, like really prominent throughout that show.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with that one number that they did, with when they had like all the different flags, people were like, waving them and dancing and doing what I'm assuming are like cultural dances to where they're from. I thought that was really cool to see, and it was something that like I don't think is typically associated with a circus, but they chose to incorporate into it, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to give room for Anna if Anna wants to chime in about some things.
Sorry, there was some stuff going on. I had to mute myself for a little while. One of the things that I enjoyed the most about the circus, it's not specifically their performance, but I think the way that they involved the audience with what was going on. Because when there's a lot going on, of course it's a circus. There are lights, there's a bunch of cheering, and there's the performance, this and that. I dissociate, I zone out a lot. So once they were communicating with the crowd and talking and having us do things, that really brought me back down, and that made the experience so much more enjoyable for me. I really appreciated that.
Yeah. And so the purpose of us taking on to see these shows and things like that is like to get more perspective on how better Theater Philadelphia and theaters around Philadelphia and the greater Philadelphia area can do more to welcome y'all into space. And so are there things that stick out to you in the welcoming of like how you come into a theater, what feels warm as a youth? Are there times where you're like, I wish this experience had been more welcoming? And as we move forward, what are some things you're going to be looking out for as you go have these experiences?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a big question.
Yeah.
Break it down a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Like, how
Yeah,
did you
sorry.
feel in the space?
Yeah.
Like walking into the space, did you feel welcome? Did you feel comfortable? Did you feel something else?
Well, with Universal, kind of what Anna was saying, like the way that they interacted with the crowd, because like I was originally like I was kind of nervous just because I've never been to a circus before. I was like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen. But like you would get in there, and the second that it started, like you could just like tell how it was gonna be for the rest of the show. Like you could tell the energy and like the vibe of the entire thing was like super positive and upbeat, and the way that they would interact with the crowd and try to get us to like get like really, really hype, like brought me more into the experience, I think.
Yeah. And is that usual for experience? Like y'all going to the theater? Do y'all always feel welcome in theater spaces?
Usually with in the past when I've gone to see things in theater, I felt not necessarily unwelcome, but just a little bit cold and maybe a little bit more closed off, and just like I had to, kind of squish myself down a little bit. But when we were interacting with the performance and everything that was going on, it felt like we were all just one thing.
Yeah.
And being together, singing and dancing, it was beautiful. I loved it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that sometimes, like when I go see plays, it feels more like I'm watching a movie rather than seeing live theater, just because it's like these are real people acting, but sometimes I like kind of zone out and like, but like I completely agree with Anna. It's like it felt like we were one with the performers, especially at the circular audience.
It felt like we were a little community for that one period of time. It was really nice.
Like, and I feel like one thing that helped, like that was like the moments when like instead, like when they would ask us to like stand up or to talk to them or to scream, or to like when they would play the songs and we would be singing them, and like I feel like moments like that, instead of like having us just sit there quietly only being able to clap, like when we all just stand up and like just do whatever and be goofy, like I feel like that was also helping with it.
Yeah, it gave you room to express yourself while also participating in what was going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's funny that you said earlier, Tor, that like you feel like Shakespeare, you don't like it because you think that it's boring, and what about it is boring? I think maybe like it just doesn't feel like they're talking to me. I don't know if you feel that way, if you guys have had to read Shakespeare for school or sit in a play, if you're like, what's going on? What's happening?
Yeah, I remember like we had to read it in school, and I'm just sitting here and I'm like, it was really boring. Like I just don't be getting it. Like, and it'd be these plots that nobody care about. Like I don't care. I could barely even understand what y'all was talking about. Like, but yeah, that's just my opinion.
That's real. No, that's real.
I'm curious though, like how we're gonna see some shows that have poetry later on. And maybe you'll like respond different to poetry versus Shakespeare. But Shakespeare, we kind of lump it in as poetry, but it has a whole different genre when I think about it. But it does leave that like less gap for you to interpret.
Yeah.
I feel like oftentimes, like I feel like I like associate Shakespeare with like kind of like it being like kind of cold and closed off, like kind of what we were talking about before. And I don't feel that same way about poetry. Like I feel like poetry has a lot of warmth to it. I don't know what it is about Shakespeare. Maybe it's just because it's old, but it feels like if I'm not like trying to dissect and interpret it, like if I'm just watching a show and I'm not in like an English class going, what does this line mean? It's like I don't understand a word that they're saying, and they're like fancy people, and I don't care about them, and it's feels a lot more closed off as an experience.
Yeah, it's just I think you feel really disconnected, and it's less enjoyable. You're not really focusing on how you're feeling and how it makes you feel. You're more focusing on, all right, what are they even saying in the first place? What's going on?
This is funny because Fat Ham is an adaptation of Hamlet. So it's
Mhm.
going to be interesting
Yeah.
to hear your thoughts about seeing the adaptation versus, the original source material.
I think it was also interesting because Alex, you used the same words of closed off and cold that Anna had used just a few minutes ago to describe like how it can sometimes feel on some theater experiences. So I'm wondering, like with storytelling in general, what is kind of that catalyst, like that factor that shifts it from warm and inviting and connective into a little bit less connective, a little bit more closed off, a little bit, distanced from you?
Yeah.
I think, well, I don't want to just say that because you shouldn't, or I shouldn't only have empathy for people who I can connect with or who are similar to me, but I feel like it's feeling like I understand what they're performing or trying to tell me with their performance. That's what makes me feel more moved in certain things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I completely agree. I feel like it's about the way that the audience can connect. And I think it's really difficult to connect to Shakespeare compared
That's a
to
lot more precise. Yeah.
or like connect to other shows. Like I think it really is about connection. I think that's something that's so nice about like smaller theaters too, is that I think with it's easier for the actors to like really like look into the audience and like connect with you and be like, I see you, you see me, like you understand what's going on right now.
Yes.
And Macbeth and Stride had a lot of that. I think what was really dope is to like London, another one of our youth that's not here right now, but London had a wonderful experience of saying, like I would ask London, oh, do you get what's happening at this part? And he's like, yeah, I got Lady Macbeth is doing that. She sung the song. This is great. Please, like, be quiet. I'm focused. You know what I'm saying? And to see the way in which an adaptation is a simple step to make sure that we are reaching the community where we need to reach the community.
I thought it was a really beautiful definition of connection that just came up of like, I see you, you see me.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can wrap this episode up.
Tora, Drew, did you all have any last thoughts?
One of my last thoughts on this topic was like, I remember with like Macbeth, the play that we saw, like I remember in between certain things like the witches like was interacting with the audience, and like I think another point of connection for me when I'm watching stuff is when they like notice, like when they say that, like when the characters on the stage know that the audience is there and like they say things to the audience. I think it helps make me feel more connected because it's like they're not just pretending like we're not here, like we're here, and like they take use of the fact that it's a live stage, and
Yeah.
It's more personal.
It's more personal, like you said, Anna, like it's more personal and it touched you in a way. So I want to like also say how thankful we are that this cohort has come together. This is our first episode, and I'm looking forward to this whole year in the season, talking about these different things and different ways in which we experience theater. Our next episode will be focused on our trip to see Fat Ham at the Wilma Theater. And like Cherie said, that's Hamlet, but turned up in a Philly style kind of like mashup. So I'm really excited to see what y'all reflect on that one. And then talk about more also about how you all feel more in spaces, different theater spaces, right? Because the goal of this cohort is for us to figure out how we as Theater Philadelphia and the Philadelphia community, period, can make sure that y'all are being able to access your art, because you are the next generation of artists. And we're proud to have y'all as the next generation. So proud. So the Philadelphia theater community who is tuning into this or has taken time to listen to this, thank you. Stay tuned for our next episode towards the end of December, as well as, find ways you can support Theater Philadelphia, but also find ways that you can support getting these kids to see some of your shows. If you have a show that you want us to take the kids to go see, look us up with some free tickets.
Right.
We'll be there, and we're looking forward to doing more reviews and more discussions like this. We thank you. Have a good time, I guess. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.